All right. Hello. Hey, 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 hey. I was having problems with the internet, but we should be okay. Let's see how we're doing. Hey. Let's see how we're doing. Is this working or is the internet? Hey, we got 12 people. Here we go. Hello. If you joined yesterday, I was having problems with the old internet. And I thought I wasn't going to be able to make it, but I managed to sort it out. So I'm just fresh out the shower. Hello. Oh, what a joy to be with you. Let me know where you're calling in from. Let me know what country you are from and living in. And an emoji to capture something that's alive for you today. How are you feeling? What's going on for you? Let's see an emoji to capture what's going on. And yeah, we'll be a few minutes and then we can get going. And hi, Danny. Hello from Spain. Wonderful to have you here. What a joy. Hello, Sam. Florida, USA. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Jay from Spain. Awesome. Beautiful to be with you. Let me try to sort some settings out. Hi. Ooh. Let's see if that does anything. All right, I'll try that for next time. Hi, Deborah from Northern Ireland. My dad's from Belfast, so good to be with you. Hi, Divina from Albania. Awesome. Julia from Boulder County, Colorado. Josie from Leicestershire. Coffee is alive for me this afternoon. Let me know why. Olia from Indonesia. Amazing. Sweden. Global Tai Chi family. What a joy to be with you. It's been months since I've been on YouTube live, and my intention is to be with you 3 times a week, although we'll see how that does. I was in China for a few months with Master Gu, and that was really beautiful, and now I'm just by myself in a little Airbnb and doing lots of thinking about consciousness. And so I'm going to invite, that's going to be the topics for the coming weeks, is consciousness and global transformation, finding peace within and without. So if you've got any questions about consciousness, in future sessions I'm going to be sharing some of what I've been learning for this session. I want to just hold an open space, and yeah, wherever you want to go with it, let me know your questions, and yeah, I look forward to exploring with you. And yeah, consciousness. Who are we? Who are you? Who am I? And these classic questions of, is there a God? Where does the fact that we're experiencing stuff come from? How is it that we are thinking, feeling beings, and we're living on a planet bursting with beings that are also experiencing stuff like emotions and fear and joy and care for family and the desire to play? If you've got a dog or a cat, you'll know what I mean. So yeah, if you've got any questions about consciousness or just more generally anything that you'd like, then yeah, let's do it. So checking back in with the chat. So, your pal John from Florida, good to be with you. Strawberry Tofu in South Wales, good to see you again, Strawberry Tofu. Steve, New York. Awesome. So, yeah, welcoming your questions in the chat. And yeah, what have I been exploring today? So you might know about the word interbeing. So the English language doesn't really have a word for the wiggly interdependence that we are. So for a lot of us, and it can be our experience as human beings, as we're separate from the world, we're separate from one another. I am George, this little voice in a head, encapsulated by a bag of skin, separate from the world. And then as we learn more about ourselves, we learn that everything in the universe is in relationship, and everything in the universe is moving. So we begin to learn that this world isn't just a set of discrete, separate objects, but instead a wiggly shmush of dynamic flow, interconnected flow. And everything is in relationship. Now, we could say that everything's interdependent, which is a word that we have in English, but it doesn't really capture the full magic of what we're really a part of. So Thich Nhat Hanh coined the word interbeing referring to this coming together, that you and I, our being, comes from this interdependence. And connecting with interbeing, we can begin to understand more about what's happening in the world. And obviously there's a lot of pain and warfare and misery and ignorance happening, which is really sad to see. And I'll speak for myself, can feel that despair of what's happening in the world. We've got such great potential, and yet we seem to be falling apart just as we need to be coming together. And it can feel like you and I, we're on this journey of waking up to our potential for peace, our potential for wisdom, our potential for love and for compassion, for forgiveness, for healing. And when we feel like, hey, maybe I have done some work on myself and I am feeling it just a little bit stronger, a little bit more resilient, and then we have a bit more space to look out into the world and maybe want to be of service to the transformation of the world, we can feel that despair because we feel that I'm just so small, I can't make a difference. But if we really understand the deep connotations, the deep implications of interbeing, then we find a bit more peace, a bit more resilience, and a bit more hope. And Charles Eisenstein, I've been reading recently, I'll put his name in the chat. He is an awesome human being and thinker, and definitely spelled that wrong. Charles Eisenstein talks about how if we really understand interbeing, then we know that transformation is much bigger than we would normally think about it. So if we're stuck in despair, I'm so small, I can't make a difference. That's assuming that you're this separate self, and that almost there's some arrogance maybe in it. It's like, well, either I save the whole world or I do nothing. It's like this binary option of, well, okay, I'm so small, I can't save the world, so therefore I don't do anything and I don't mean anything. However, in an interconnected, wiggly, interbeing system that life is, this is what life is, then every single relationship contributes to the whole. Every single aspect of the interconnected web feeds into the greater harmony. And so that means that transformation doesn't just rely on you or me, but it does rely on you and me. That sounds like a paradox, but the transformation that will happen will require many, many people. And it is because people like you and me believe and act to contribute, to be of service to the flourishing of life with this precious energy that we have. And if we stay grounded in that interconnectedness, that interbeing, then we don't know what the specific outcomes are going to be from our actions. But that doesn't matter, because our actions nonetheless are meaningful. They contribute to the interconnected system. And so the effects can be felt, even if they can't be calculated or measured. So I hope that's an idea that can support you if you're feeling despair at what's happening in the world and feeling like there's nothing you can do, is to just remember that it's bigger than you, and it is you and I and this global waking up that is going to be the change. As again, Thich Nhat Hanh says, the next Buddha will not be a person, but will be a Sangha. A Sangha is a community. So the next Buddha, the next enlightened force or energy that raises humanity's consciousness will not be a person anymore, but it will be a community. Because the challenges of today are so much bigger than any one of us, and really we're transcending these old ideas of needing heroes, needing individuals to save us, which then implies hierarchy, that there are some people who are superior to us, that we just bow down. Oh, Holy One, thank you, you have saved us. When in fact, what really is being called of us, collectively and individually, is to exercise the power that we do have. Yes, there is injustice in the world and there's an unfair distribution of power, and maybe the billionaires have a lot more power than us, or race or gender, like whatever advantages and disadvantages people have. Nonetheless, there is some power that we have, power being the ability to enact change. That power starting within, that actually we're not just victims to the world, but we can choose our response to the world. We don't need to take the weight of the world onto our shoulders. There is the possibility that we can live with joy and resource ourselves to feel resilient and grounded. The classic quote by Viktor Frankl, between the stimulus and the response, there is a space, and that space is our freedom and our power. So, we're feeling somebody's wronged us, we're blaming others, and, our attention's out here. If we take a moment to turn within and just see, what's here? Actually, the pain that I'm experiencing right now is being created from the thoughts and emotions that I'm generating inside my mind and body in response to what's happening outside of me. And that understanding means, therefore, we have the possibility to choose that response, responsibility, the ability to choose our response. And so that is where freedom can be found. And so we have that possibility within to exercise that power that we have, to find peace, a semblance of peace, taking little micro steps on our journey towards peace. We do have that power. And then collectively, as we begin to raise our energy and we feel resourced, that we can begin to think about, how can I be of service to life? I've been given this gift of life. How can I be of service? Then, beginning to realize, okay, there is possibilities that we can have some power to change maybe my workplace and the energy that I bring to it, voting with all the challenges of democracy, still a precious gift that our ancestors died for. And so on and so on. So yeah, we can trust the process. We're stronger together and working together. Yeah, I'm taking questions. Let me know your thoughts on that, and I can keep freestyling if there's not any questions in the chat, but really welcoming anything you want to be exploring today. We've got another 45 minutes. For these sessions, we will be doing movement in other weeks, but I didn't have time to set up properly. So we're just going to be talking today. And yeah, welcoming your thoughts and comments, observations. So for me, my spirituality being a connection to something bigger than myself. For me, spirituality really calls for me to serve life. It's like when I understand, wow, I am part of this magnificent, mysterious miracle called life on planet Earth. And I'm part of this interconnected web. And there's so much beauty and so much pain and struggling and ignorance that I feel joy to contribute my little bit to making a bit more of a beautiful world, to help us as a species and individually in my own life, in my family, in my relationships, to find a bit more joy, a bit more ease. Cool, let's go for a question. Thanks, Purple Ram. How important do you find travel in your personal growth journey? I really loved your video about heading to the mountains. So, the Taoists in the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu says, the further you go, the less you know. And a Taoist is happy just hanging out on their farm and not even bothering to go check out the neighboring villages, people to see what's happening there. Even though you can hear the dogs of the nearby village, he never goes to look. He's just content where he is. And without looking out the window, can see the ways of nature. Without stepping out the door, knows the universe. So the Taoists, they question whether or not travel is good for us. But I have found it to be really beautiful and important on my journey, is to take some time to just step out of my normal everyday, to see what's left of me, to step out of my culture and to see how do other cultures do humaning. And that perspective is really important. When we take ourselves out of our norm, we see what's left and we gain perspectives about, what's true. And like what are the stories that I'm just creating for myself and what's really me. And so that travel can be something as small as going to camp in a forest, going to go to any mountain that's close to you. For me, nature is the big teacher, and so many of us in cities are disconnected from nature. And so most of us need to actively choose to go out and to seek reconnection with nature and the planet from which we have emerged. And for me, that's been a great teacher. And I say probably the biggest teacher. The joy of the internet now is that you can teach yourself so much. You can teach yourself meditation with great teachers on YouTube and Insight Timer, Headspace. And of course, I had the great privilege of going to China and studying with Master Gu and Obviously, that has been really important for me. And finding teachers, if you do have the opportunity and the time to go find teachers, great. But I'm also really keen on making sure that, you know, what I share is not so, you know, unreachable. You know, like if you've got a job, if you've got kids, if you've got parents to look after, you know, sometimes you can't go away for a long time. And so maybe not making it so big. Those micro adventures, a weekend without the phone, a weekend in nature, or going further afield. I have found that to be powerful. If that answers your question, BB on democracy is a myth to keep the serfs complacent. Nice. You know, I like a good bit of challenge here. So, democracy, is it just something that we have the illusion of freedom and democracy, but we're really, you know, choosing between two parties, both of them corrupt and not that different, serving the needs of the elite and the multinational corporations that really run our world. That's true, in my view. You know, there's a lot of corruption and a lot of an illusion of freedom. Nonetheless, I think democracy is really, really precious. And, you know, I've lived in countries that aren't democracies, and the freedom that I have in the United Kingdom and the sort of energy and the culture that creates, the freedom of speech and the choice, no matter how flawed, to vote in the people that run our countries, I think is really, really precious. And I question the, you know, democracy's messed up and like it's all corrupt and we just, you know, step out. It's like, well, you know, we don't want this. But then, you know, who does that leave in the democratic world? It is people looking for power and those that want to entrench their own self-serving interest. We are really calling out for leadership to say, hey, you know, this whole technology utopia thing, it hasn't come and it's not going to come because technology can't sort everything out. You know, we're disconnected from ourselves, we're disconnected from community, we're disconnected from nature, we're disconnected from any idea of meaning and sacredness or connection to something bigger than ourselves. And technology isn't going to sort those things. Education and community and time is going to sort those things. And of course, sustainable economies upon which everything depends. And currently we are using the resources of the planet vastly faster than they can resupply and warming up the atmosphere, as you know. So we really need leadership, in my view, in the democratic world. And that is a scary thing, to step into that realm of being in the limelight and the attack that people get. But yeah, I do notice in spiritual communities that there's this kind of question of you know, authority and hierarchy and government, which I get, I understand, but I also feel pragmatically it's like, well, countries exist, governments exist, you know, like you need to have your electricity and your lighting and, you know, healthcare and unemployment benefits if AI's getting your job, you know, it's like there are real things that need to be done, and I'd much prefer to work with what we have now than to just kind of put my hands up and say, well, it's corrupt, I'm not going to do anything. And obviously it's hugely challenging. So, yeah, I'm not naive to the challenge that we've got together. But yeah, I believe we can come together, and I hold onto that possibilities. Cobb asks, what do you think about the idea that we can control our mind? Do you believe thoughts and feelings are part of the human experience and that we should accept them and not be an enemy to them. Do we control our minds? Do we have free will? The thoughts and feelings that arise for us? Well, why don't we experience it for ourselves? Should we play a game? So if you'd like to join me for this, closing your eyes is only an option. I'm going to spend 30 seconds and we're not going to think. All right? 30 seconds, and the game is to not think. Now, if you do think, I'd like you to count your thoughts, and then we're going to post the number of thoughts in the chat that you've had. So 30 seconds, no thinking, starting now. All right, and stop. All right, let me know in the chat how many thoughts you had. How was that? I had 4. My first one was, how long's 30 seconds? Second one was, that was a thought. Third one was, that was a thought as well. So there we go. In mindfulness, all right, we've got 6 thoughts. We've got this idea of the waterfall of thinking. It's like when we begin to notice, in meditation, we just sit and we observe. We begin to find, holy smokes, I'm totally not in control here. Thinking just happens. And to understand that is the gateway to freedom, because then we're not just fighting ourselves. It's like with meditation. When I first started, I would tell myself, oh, meditation's about not thinking. And then I was thinking, and I was like, oh, I've been in China for 6 months. I shouldn't be thinking anymore. I've been meditating at least 20 minutes a day for 6 months. Really, it's, part of being human. The heart beats, the stomach digests, the brain thinks. That's what it does. Samantha's won the no thinking task with 2. And so that said, there is some freedom that we have to begin to think about how, there's some freedom that we have to begin to control, is the word that's coming up, what thoughts and feelings that we have. So what's here is inevitable, but we are creatures of habit. And so what we do repeatedly, we become. What we think about repeatedly, we continue to think about. And so we can, through practice and consciousness, begin to cultivate and carve out the sort of thoughts that we want. So mantras being a classic example. I am enough just as I am. Or I trust my love. That's the one that I have been doing quite a lot. Some of you may know I got frauded, scammed, robbed. I lost all of my money last year. And there's 13 in the team now that run the online academy, that run the YouTube channel. And I'm really passionate about everything that I'm doing to hopefully serve you. And I lost everything. And it was really brutal. And I felt a lot of grief and sadness and fell off my practice, and then was judging myself for, well, George, you share meditation. You should be meditating every single day. Oh, now you're anxious and you're resisting life. 8 years you've been doing this now. You really are not good enough. And I've got this very strong perfectionist streak in me. And the mantra, I trust my love, is what helped me, okay? Those thoughts are happening, I can't control them, but I trust my love. And just kind of keep on repeating that. I trust my love, I do care. I really, I care. And I do trust that care, I trust that love. And when I notice those judgmental thoughts, I keep coming back to that mantra, I trust my love. And so then, over time, those more challenging thoughts can dissipate. You know, if we're stuck in 2 hours of negativity, we come to a mantra, we may then stop that. And if we come to the mantra after an hour, then we've got an hour less of suffering, an hour less of compulsive thoughts and feelings, 30 minutes, so we can shorten that time down where we were before lost in that compulsive thinking. Then we come back and come to presence. So Ariel sharing, I don't think thinking is an issue so much as the story or labels that we give the sensation, which can be detrimental. So really, that's it. It's like we are constantly evaluating and judging whether, I should be having these thoughts, I shouldn't be having these thoughts, I should be having these feelings, I shouldn't be having these feelings. We experience pleasure and pain, and then we have craving or aversion, longing or fearing, and we are, just constantly judging and evaluating our experience. And the gift of meditation is to just be with what is here, right now, just to be with it, to experience that. And then again, that's where we find that freedom to enjoy ourselves. Nice. So I think we'll do maybe one more and then we'll call it a day today. Twilin asks, what's the difference between meditation and breath work? So meditation is this timeless practice that has been discovered all around the world over history as the fundamental practice in the process of waking up to the reality of how the world really works, waking up to who we really are, waking up to our potential for wisdom, for peace, for insight, for clarity, for love, for compassion. Meditation as a practice is about observation. So we've been talking about, we experience thoughts and emotions, and normally we're lost in these thoughts and emotions. Meditation is about observing what's here, pausing and just seeing, wow, all of this is happening. All of it. And if we can observe without judgment, with kindness, then we have this quality of mindfulness. So mindfulness is a quality of presence, meditation being the practice to help us find that quality of presence more easily. And then breath work is a way of understanding and tapping into the power of our breath. And you do get a meditation for free if you're focusing on your breath, you're present. If you're focusing on your breath, you're not being judgmental. You've got that quality of kind awareness, mindfulness. And you can focus on your breath during a meditation, which again, meditation is about observation. So breath work can fit within meditation, but it's more than that because it's about finding and experiencing the power of your breath. That the breath is connected to your mind and body as you slow down your breath. You slow down your mind, you slow down your nervous system, and so it's a really powerful tool to help you down-regulate on demand through slowing your breath down. And is often why I share the breath in every session that I do. Beautiful. So why don't we end today with some breath work or just some presence, sharing some presence together. If you'd like to join me, you can be sitting or standing in any way that you'd like to. Maybe closing the eyes, but that's just an option. And seeing if you can find the sensation of your breath. Finding the air coming in and out, maybe through your nostrils, maybe through your mouth. Relaxing the forehead and the eyes, allowing them to sink and to unwind. Relaxing the cheeks and the jaw, softening, unwinding. And slowing down your breath. Slowing down the breath. We can try some breaths together. Breathing in for 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathing out for 5, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathing in. 3, 4, 5. Breathing out. 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathing in, can you soften even more? Breathing out, releasing any tension. Breathing in. And breathing out. And gently beginning to come back into our space together. Beautiful, amazing to be breathing with you. And yeah, that was beautiful to be with you again. I'm going to be with you, and I'll come to that question tomorrow. On Saturday, tomorrow, same time, and then on Sunday, I've got a introduction to meditation course on Wayfinder Academy. I'd love to see you there. Wayfinder.academy. It's only $17 a month, and you get access to 40 hours of all of my teaching, every course that I've ever done, and learning in community on Zoom for an 1.5-hour session. It's going to be really beautiful, and we're going to get deep as always. And I would, love to meet you there. And I think actually more detail about the course. Here we go. Thank you so much. Such a joy and privilege to be with you. See you tomorrow for another session, same time. And I hope your breath and your practice serves you, raising your energy so that you can enjoy your life and then maybe serve your community, your loved ones, and ultimately the planet. Flow well, my friend.